Hello, this is Mary from May Arts, and today I'm going to share with you how I've created this fun and dimensional canning jar mini book. I began by cutting out and covering with paper this mini book that I cut from my Silhouette machine. And I've also covered the edges with just a little bit of white paint. This gives a little more of a shabby chic look. For this book, I wanted it to appear as if I were using this canning jar as a little sewing kit, you know, where they put the little pin cushions on the top and then they fill the inside with all sorts of sewing stuff, buttons and needles and thread and that kind of thing. So I began with just a little bit of tacky glue and some of this cotton blend in plain 2.5-inch ribbon. A very thick glue is your best bet, and you want to use just a very thin layer. So as soon as I've got that on, just glued around the edges, the very edges, I'm going to go ahead and trim it out with. And to keep the fraying at bay, I went ahead and added just the tiniest layer of tacky glue around the edges as well. Now to give my pincushion a little bit of dimension, I'm going to stuff it with a little bit of polyfill, and I'm going to use a skewer to kind of poke it in there. And now it's time to stick in a few pins to my pincushion. Because I want my pins to be a little more upright, I'm going to go ahead and poke them in, starting a little closer to the top of my lid. But I'm going to go ahead and just use a little bit of hot glue to hold them in place, as well as go ahead and close down my ribbon so that my fluff will stay inside. Being very careful not to burn my fingers, I'm staying on top of the ribbon and I'm pushing very gently. Now to trim out that raw edge of ribbon, I'm going to go ahead and use several lengths of this it's a burlap cording. I love it. It's my favorite thing to trim with. You can see here how finished it looks. It's very dimensional and it's neat and it's clean and it's all snug and safe. That fluff is not coming out. And now I'm going to embellish. I have a 3/8 inch lace here as well as a 1 1/4 inch silk ribbon. And I'm going to go ahead and stick down the lace with just a little bit of tacky glue, very thin layer. I'm going to go ahead and stick a little bit of a piece up top and a little piece down below because I want it to look like it's peeking out from behind my silk ribbon. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick down my silk ribbon with hot glue. I tucked under my raw edge of the ribbon and I'm going to go just a little bit at a time. Just add a small bit of glue, then add my ribbon down, letting it cool just slightly before I stick it down because I don't want the glue seeping through my ribbon. And here's a closer look at how our cover is coming together. I absolutely love how it looks like the lace is peeking out from behind the ribbon. And to finish off the look, I'm going to go ahead and add a pre-tied bow to the front. That way it looks like we've actually just tied our ribbon straight around the jar. And here is the back cover. You can see that I've left it completely flat as opposed to adding that dimension. That way we're going to have a little bit more of a functional book. Now when punching holes through my book, I was left with a dilemma as to how I was going to get my fluff and my ribbon to kind of stay under my eyelet. And I found that when I added just a little bit of hot glue, let it cool for a second, and then pressed it down, it completely sealed it off. Now to finish up the cover, I went ahead and cut out the word cute with a font that is reminiscent of a ball jar. And then I embossed the as a button with a little bit of gold embossing powder and this tiny little stamp from the Hampton Arts stamp set that I had. And after gluing down a handful of mother of pearl buttons, my cover was complete. I simply bound it with just a little bit more of that burlap cording and it is ready to add photos and embellish. I think I might go ahead and just add a few photos of my babies when they were all little. But I can see this book being used for just about anything, from baby photos, which is the obvious choice, to maybe newly engagement photos, to a heritage album like I'm going to be doing. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!